I want to start with how the university is coping with the pandemic. I've talked to, I think, all of the university presidents in Southeast Michigan about how they're doing it. And it's really interesting to see how, for everyone, it presents some common challenges, but it also presents some very specific challenges depending on the campus. So tell me what the story has been like at U of D Mercy.
Well, we've been very, very fortunate in that on our three campuses, we've done things a little bit differently, but yet some things have been also very much the same. One of the primary items I would say is because we are largely a commuter institution, we don't have nearly as many students on campus. So we've had about 400 to 500 students who have actually been living on the campus. And we have had classes in a hybrid flex mode. So a lot of our classes are virtual, but at least 40% of our classes during the summertime as well as during the fall were classes that were in person. So students had those chances and opportunities to select the kind of classes that they would like to take. In the case of the law school, all of those classes have been virtual, and that's worked out just fine. In our School of Dentistry, it has been a little different because the dental students obviously need to have more clinical experiences. So the first and second year students are in more what we call didactic classes and not nearly as many of the laboratories. So we've been able to work that out in smaller settings and smaller classes. And then fortunately, our clinics were reopened again after having been out for about 3 years in the School of Dentistry. So that the third and the fourth year students were actually able to bring back their patients and to be able to work very closely with them in an ordinary setting. And as I said, social distancing, wearing a mask, all of those things, we've been able to take care of that. But a lot of it has just really been focused on the safety and health and wellness of our students and faculty and staff. So it's gone very, very well for us.
Are there things that the vaccine, which is now with us and being distributed, are there things that changes about U of D Mercy? And do you have a plan to try to be part of the distribution of the vaccine the way some other universities are?
Right. Well, in our case, probably it won't be until the spring or the summertime that many of our students will have the opportunity to get the vaccine. Certainly for many of our faculty and staff, we're going to encourage most of them to get it unless their physicians indicate that it might not be a wise thing for them to do. But all of our plans have really been focused in on the vaccine development. So we've been working very closely with the state. We've worked very, very closely with the city as well, too. And I think when we get to next fall, if a lot more Americans have taken the vaccine, we'll be able to do some things with social distancing and also wearing of masks. But that will certainly be a very, very important precaution. Our student athletes, for example, we have over 300 of them. Obviously, they've been adhering to all of the different practices and the guidelines very, very closely. And that's what's allowed us to have at least our basketball, men's and women's basketball teams to be able to play. But I think the things will definitely continue to be different next fall. And probably social distancing will be a part of that. And our classrooms are all set up for those arrangements right now anyway. So we'll be ready, and everybody would like to have the opportunity to come back to campus and be able to do a lot more things together. And I'm very, very hopeful that by the fall, we'll be able to do some of those things.
You know, I've heard from a lot of people and from some folks in higher ed about things that had to change for the pandemic that maybe it doesn't make sense to change back. Once things get back to normal. Are there things that you guys have had to innovate or accept that are just good ideas that can continue after this is over?
Yeah, well, I would say, first of all, the majority of our faculty knew how to teach virtually. I would say that some of those instructional practices have been improved as a result of that. We have what's called an instructional design studio, and we're very fortunate that we received the grant very, very recently to have something I've wanted here for quite a little while, Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. So we'll be able to do some things differently. I've joked with some of the students and with the faculty and staff and said, well, you know, this may really just terminate what we knew as snow days, because if the snow comes, then we just do things virtually. But in all seriousness, I think that it has allowed faculty to be innovative and also to be creative about it. And students who were first anxious about all of this, switching and transitioning to virtual learning, have come to accept it and realize that, yeah, they can get great learning by also having this virtual interaction with their classmates as well as their faculty and staff. But at the end of the day, everybody really does want to be together again. And so I think that we'll be able to learn a lot from what we've experienced over the last 10 months.
So let's talk about some other things that are going on your campus. You have this renovation initiative going on, and you're starting with the student union.
That's right. We're starting a student union. You'll be interested to know that I had to get them to stop for a little while, or otherwise we might not be able to hear one another. Yes, we have our student union building. It was built in 1955, and we are putting an extension onto it and also building a sunken plaza in that building. We're adding on about 10,000 square feet. That will be my new office, as well as most of my vice president's office. It'll bring the admissions office into the student union, financial aid, student services, and the like. We're really making a $55 million investment here on the campus to really renovate and also upgrade much of what we have had here on the McNichols campus over these last 90 plus years. And so it's going to really be great for the students, because they have a lot more places that they can come together and also lounge here. We're also eliminating deferred maintenance from our portfolio. And buildings like the one that I'm in right now, the Fisher Center Administration Center, that building will eventually be demolished. And also we have a couple of other buildings, Reno Hall, which was an office building for the faculty. And fortunately, Stephen, those things were in the works before we had the pandemic. And I think that as a result of the pandemic, we've probably gotten a little bit, ahead of ourselves in terms of some of the work that's going on right now here on the campus. So certainly by next December, we hope that we'll have that expansion all done. And then our next plan will be to add additional housing on the campus so that we can increase the number of students from 800 to hopefully at least about 11 to 1,300 students living on campus. So we're very excited about that here on the McNichols campus. And it's another investment into the city of Detroit, and particularly in this neighborhood.
Yeah. Let's talk about the relationship between the university and the neighborhood. Of course, you sit right in the middle of several neighborhoods here in Detroit, including Bagley and University District. Over the years, there's been a lot of effort to enhance that relationship and talk about the fortunes of the university going along with the fortunes of the neighborhoods. In other words, making it all kind of one together. How is that going, and how does this renovation, this real investment that you're making, affect all of that?
Well, it all goes hand in hand. And this is my 10th year here at the university, and you may recall when we first started talking, we talked about really doing more in the neighborhood. And I'm very pleased that the Kresge Foundation, along with the university, founded Live 6 Alliance, Livernois 6 Mile Alliance. And it's now been a little bit more than 5 years, about 5.5 years now. It's being led now by Dr. Geneva Williams, who has provided some really dynamic leadership. We have 5 staff members as well, too. So a lot of the renovations that we've recently had, for example, on McNichols between Livernois and Wyoming is just about completed. During the pandemic, Live 6 Alliance, which is now officially a 501c3, I continue to be the chair of the board, but we've really done a lot of things helping the local businesses along Livernois in particular with some of their lost revenues that they had when the pandemic came along, and then also when the streets were being expanded and the sidewalks were being expanded. So we've been fortunate that in addition to the Kresge Foundation, we've had some great contributions from most recently TCF, the Baumer Foundation. Kresge is very, very strongly in support of that. A number of other major foundations, Hudson Weber. And a number of these things we've been able to do by working very, very closely with the neighborhood community. And I would say that that support has really been galvanized. And at the same time, Kresge, which has put in a great deal of money into the refashioning of the Marygrove campus. I serve as a member of the Marygrove Conservancy with several other individuals from there. That work is also providing some excellent bookends between the University of Detroit Mercy as well as Marygrove Conservancy, so that we can really stay a very, very strong, vibrant, and very vital community.